Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a build video for Wisp Prime. Now I know it's been a minute since I've had any content releases, and I've been cooking up some stuff for you guys, so expect to see some more videos coming in the next couple of days and or weeks. I've been working on quite a bit of stuff. Um, so my Wisp is one of the frames that I've played probably the most, and I really wanted to cook up something special before uploading this. Now, this is a very high-end build, so just a heads up to anyone if you are missing some of, like, say, the Vault cards or the Archon cards. Those are necessary for this build. I don't currently have any Archon shards on my Wisp, which means you could honestly push this build even further than I have. But just right now, I don't have the spare Archon shards to do to it what I want to. I could probably pull them off of another frame, but quite honestly, mine is fully capable of handling Steel Path content, whatever I want to do with it. Um, Realistically, if I were to throw Archon shards on it, I'd be pushing it just for the fun of it, really. You could definitely turn it into an endurance run frame. You could probably slap like some armor or uh, something else on her, maybe some more ability strength or something to help with her energy cost potentially. Just a couple of recommendations, but obviously, there's a lot of different things you could do with it. So starting off, this is the build for it, and again, I will be showing gameplay, me running the build and a Steel Path mission just to kind of show it off, just a couple of minutes in there. Um, Again, like I said, this is a little bit more of a expensive build. There's a lot of cards in here and arcanes that you're going to need to make this fully function. It heavily focuses on ability strength. I do have Pillage subsumed over the 4. That allows me to strip shields and armor off of enemies, as well as giving myself survivability. Wisp already has a ton of survivability, but I just really like Pillage for that armor strip. It's nice to have, plus you combine that with her Breach Surge, it's just a beautiful combo. That in conjunction with me having a 323% strength on her. Again, like I said, if you really want to push the strength even further, you could slap some Archon shards in there, but with this built the way I have it, I'm already getting 323% strength. My range could go up a little bit further. My Archon stretch is not fully leveled up yet, and a little bit more survivability could come from adaptation. Mine is at level 8 out of 10. But again, this functions incredibly well for where it's at. Even my Arcane Energize is still missing a level. Thank you to the Grotesque Splinters that we got Arcane Energize a lot easier recently. Now I've just got to do the um, Arcane Disillusions to hope I get it from the drops from that. But anyways, going into this, I run Growing Power in the Aura mod slot, Power Drift in the Exilis mod slot, Blind Rage down here, which that does drop your efficiency, but if you run this with Arcane Energize, efficiency is no worry at all. Prime Continuity comes in for ability duration. That allows, if you're using your reservoirs or moats, whatever you want to call them, um, that allows it to where if you exit out of the zone of those, lasts a little bit longer. Um, I've got the buff duration up to 38 seconds, which is more than enough. You can place down 6 moats in total, or 2 of each moat in 2 separate areas. So you can kind of bounce around with them. I usually put them on like the defense objective if I'm doing defense, or just something that has a objective like that. Will-O-Wisp is really great for survivability as well. While you're using it, you are invulnerable to damage. It's a nice teleport, as well as Wisp's passive. For as long as she is airborne, she is invisible to enemies. All around, Wisp has so much potential to do whatever you really want to with her, but I really like this build that I've come up with. Archon Stretch is mostly on here for the energy restoration from electrical damage. Now, granted, I know a lot of people don't like the electricity motes, especially on defense missions, so be careful using those. Higher level enemy missions, you can kind of squeeze by a little bit with it just because some enemies are immune to it. But again, just be careful using those motes. That's again where Arcane Energize comes in for those times where, like, people might not appreciate you using the electricity motes and you can't get that energy regen off of that. But outside of that, it's really nice to have for those fast movement missions that you're not really too worried about kills. Um, and again, the ability range also affects pillage, which doesn't have a huge radius, but you'll see why I'm not too worried about range on that here in a little bit. Um, Obviously, you can move around a lot with Wisp due to her survivability, so it's easy to just kind of bounce around and hit in like groups of enemies with that pillage. And again, you can just strip whatever target you want to with it. I also run Augur Secrets. That gives me more ability strength, as well as just a nice little extra energy spent on abilities is converted to shields. Just kind of that nice little push into the strength, as well as more to the survivability. I do run Coaction Drift for the growing power. That just gives teammates benefit off of the auras I have. Um, Growing Power has on status effect with weapons. Squad increases personal ability strength by 25%. So, as Wisp being already a support character, I'm also providing my team with additional ability strength and also giving myself ability strength. So, it's just that nice little extra support thing. You could absolutely swap this out for something else. Like, if you wanted more range on your pillage, you could go for Cunning Drift or something like that. Again, just something I personally prefer. You could also push the ability strength even further if you really needed to. You could go off a power drift um, and then switch this out for something else, like maybe stretch, or not stretch, but overextended or something like that. Obviously, you can't put stretch in there because of the uh, Archon stretch, but again, if you wanted more ability range, you could push for it. You could go for ability duration. Just this is my personal preference on this card, so that's completely optional if you really want to. Again, you'll lose a little bit of ability strength from this one unless you swap it out for something else that gives you ability strength, but it's not a huge loss. Also, you gain even more ability strength off of Augmented as you build up kills. So I think at maximum this build is getting about 383% ability strength, which really just makes everything go ham on this. Uh, Energy cost isn't terribly a huge worry with this. Again, Arcane Energize and Archon Stretch come into play with that. The motes, you just kind of pop those down whenever you really need to, and you just put them in an area, so that's not a huge worry. But beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a mission and show you guys how this performs. I am running the Torrid, Latum, and Zorus. The Latum, Zorus, and Torrid really aren't anything specific to this build. Those are just personal preference weapons, but I really like the Torrid with this because of the fire rate you get off of Wisp motes and the damage boost I get off of Breach Surge, as well as being able to strip the armor. This build absolutely tears through things. If you want to see the Torrid, I have a video up for my build on it. It's a critical build for the Torrid, so you can go check that out. It's one of my more recent videos. But let's go ahead and jump into some Steel Path Survival real quick. Now, I'm not going to do the full 5 minutes or whatever. This is just kind of showing you guys how to run the build. Obviously, once you first drop into a mission, get your health up off your mote. Health is a little low starting out if you don't have those up. So just gonna get those motes going. These guys straight up stole my weapon right out the gate. Can I have my weapon back? Alright. They were quick to grab that from me. They knew what they were up against. They couldn't allow me to have that kind of power. So we're just gonna get the build going here. Get my energy up a little bit. Again, Arcane Energize and those shock motes just really start getting the energy rolling after a moment. And since I have enough energy starting out, I'm able to, at the very least, get my motes up and have my survivability, let my weapon just kind of hold me out for a moment. And then now, I can just kind of run around and armor strip groups of enemies and tear through them. Pop your breach surge every once in a while. Just let the pillage do its job. And with this combo, it's just absolutely busted. Now, granted, Wisp does not have a lot of direct damage abilities, so you do kind of sometimes have to rely on your weapon a bit more with her, but the pillage can make a lot of weapons perform really well in Steel Path, due to the fact that you're just stripping the defenses off of enemies, and you're also gaining the damage increase off of Breach Surge. Your survivability, of course, with Will-O-Wisp gives you that nice little moment of invincibility. So if you ever find yourself in a pinch for whatever reason, but between your motes and pillage giving you shields back, it's very rare you're going to have to use that. It's more for those tight moments where there's not a lot of enemies around the pillage, or you're just getting hammered by groups of enemies. But other than that, usually I tend to go for a weapon that benefits a lot of a fire rate. So you can see the Torrid just really tearing through with the speed boost coming from the motes. I've tried this with all manner of things. The Gotfa is really fun with this due to the fire rate and its just innate ability to fire off red crits. Latum's really good with it if you like a good secondary. But all in all, it's just a fun build. Like, it does require, some maintenance as you're going about your run, but as long as you watch your energy consumption and you prioritize those targeted pillages, you'll do just fine. Obviously, like, your motes will stay up. Well, unless you get hit by a nullifier or something like that. But that's just a quick showcase of the build running. All in all, it handles Steel Path surprisingly well. You don't find yourself in those pinches very often, but again, Will-O-Wisp comes in handy for that, and that's the build. Again, if you guys need the Torrid build, again, you can swap this out for really anything. Again, because of Breach Surge and Pillage running, it can make any weapon perform really well. Again, sometimes aim for something that benefits off of fire rate because of the boost that you get from the motes. Before Molt Augmented, I'm getting a 96% fire rate increase. And again, you have room for running Archon shards on this. Again, I don't have any on this, and it does as well as it does, so you could push this even further. You could tweak those, like, moments that you kind of need, energy efficiency, something like that might be nice. More ability strength if you really feel like you need it. But that's the Wisp build. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, a comment, and let me know if you have any questions down below, or even tips for people that might be considering the build, maybe some tweaks you might have that you might personally do. I'm very open to constructive criticism on my builds. Just trying to bring you guys something a little unique. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.